Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cowboy Perspective. We got another great opportunity to have a conversation with one of Kyle's friends, somebody he's been on really big country with, and got lots of fun stories. Some maybe we can tell, some maybe we can't. But either way, he's got the coolest, most cowboy name, or buckaroo name, in my opinion, Tucker Hatch. Like, can't kind of get any more cowboy than that. So welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Traveling down. So part of what I like about the cowboy perspective and having these conversations is there's a chance to meet an undiscovered expert. Like, Alexa has no clue who you are.
Right.
Maybe a lot of people don't. But I know, Kyle knows, you know a lot about a lot. It's just you're undiscovered. So today, we're going to discover.
You bet.
Tucker Hatch. Just getting to know you over the last couple of days, you represent to me a group of people who are listening, who are like, that sounds scary, being on a podcast. It kind of makes you nervous. It kind of is like, am I going to say something stupid or what? And then you said it right as I sat down. Hey, I'm proud of who I am. What's this going to hurt? I'm going to answer the questions and talk about the stuff I know. So, for fun, tell me one story about Kyle Johnson that maybe somebody else hadn't already heard.
I can tell you about the first time I ever met Kyle.
All right, yeah, that's good.
I whipped into the YP, right, and I had a single cab, 85 GMC 2-wheel drive pickup, and a 3-horse slant with a tack room in it, and I took the slants out so I could put 4 horses in there, and I had a plywood dog box on the back of my pickup, right, just ranchy as you could get. Put it all together and headed to Nevada. I get there and there's just a brick building, right? And it's got a few rooms on each side. And I'm like, all right, getting all settled in. And there's Kyle out there. And at the time I didn't know him. I had kind of knew who he was a little bit, or had an idea, because from a past job I had. And I was like, who the hell is this guy, right? He's like walking around, got a hat, his shirt's half untucked, I'm like, whatever, It's the first time in Nevada. I'm like, cool, I guess this is my roommate, right? And I'm out there screwing my dogs, and he was taking care of his dogs. And I was like, introduced myself. And I mean, from then on, we were just good buddies. From then, it just clicked. But the first time I met him was kind of what really opened me, because it came from like a little small town homeschooled kid, right? Came out and I'm in the middle of nowhere with this guy, and I'm like, gosh, I might die. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself here. Exactly the most comfortable scenario. And I mean, yeah, I just walked out there and was like, hey man, it's my name. Who are you? And
that is a great example. Like, I think people think I'm a little weird, and I am in a way, but I don't. I just walk up to people and say, hi, I'm Neil. Want to be friends? Kind of like what you're talking about. It's like, you're coming into this job. You don't know anybody. You've probably jumped off a ledge a little bit to just even be doing what you're doing. You're kind of going to an unfamiliar place. Sometimes all you got to do is walk up to a stranger and say, hi, I'm Neil. Want to be friends?
Absolutely. And I think if you want to learn or anything, that's how you're going to have to do it, because you can sit back and watch all you want, and you can even look at somebody and be like, judge him from the back, And it was like Kyle. It was like, he's not like, when I seen him, he wasn't the ideal guy, you're just like going to walk up, and he wasn't like the boss, I walked up to him and he became my best friend there, and fucking
really
learned
like
a lot.
Brother.
Yeah.
To be honest, in about 5 minutes of meeting Tucker, he became a brother to me, and always has been. And I just tried to not add to any worry or pick at him on nothing or feel like I needed to get something from him, just wonder what he needed from me, and other than that, we could just hang out. And
Yeah, and it's just stuff like that. You know, you can't be scared to go out and talk to them, because if you want the help, you gotta go do it.
Yeah. Well, I think you can be scared, but you got to be smart enough to know you still have to do it.
Yep.
You know, because it's still gonna be scary. It's scary to me because you just have to take that risk that they don't accept your handshake and, hey, you want to be friends. They might say, no, I don't want to be friends. And that's a rejection, and it's not a lot of fun to go through. But I've never actually experienced that, because most people are like, wow, that's pretty bold. You just walked up and said you want to be friends, and they almost let their guard down and say, okay, cool, yeah, let's be friends. Tell me about it. So you were talking about schooling dogs. What kind of dogs you got?
I've got half and half, but I ran Border Collies and Border Collie Kelpie crosses.
Man, I'm hearing the word Kelpie a
Quite
lot.
a bit.
More than I've heard before.
If you want some power, get you a Kelpie dog.
Yeah? What'd you say?
If you want power. So,
When you say power, what do you mean?
just strong, confident. Like, from my experience with Kelpie dogs, they can be a little bit more independent, it seems like. But when they do something, they mean it.
Yeah.
Like a Border Collie will have a lot of eye and stick, some of them. And most Kelpie dogs I've been around, when you tell them to walk up or walk into something, I mean, they stand up and they walk right to it. And if that cow don't move, they're getting a hold of something.
Yeah.
And the stamina in the desert, I believe, is so much different. Like a collie can have a lot of energy, but you can't really even start to see or appreciate the stamina of a Kelpie until you've gone that far out there.
Well, right.
Like the stamina they need before you even see a cow has nothing to do with how much energy they'll need to work or move that cow. Because we got a long ways to go just to get there
To the
and
first
back.
cow.
And then Kelpie
right.
dogs and the strength he's talking about, or power he's talking about, I think it goes a long way with just their foot strength and their stamina too.
Absolutely. Yeah, just gritty dogs.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to have grit in a horse, cowboy, or dog. It's incredibly hard to have grit and toughness and still have brains.
Absolutely.
And Kelpies have that.
Best dog I ever had was a Kelpie. Now, are yours all kinds of different colors? Are they black with brown ears? Like the one we had almost looked like a coyote. Like she was a kind of a fawn colored dog, but she was cool, man. She was really cool. And I think my dad had her before I was ever born. So like she spent some time in life with just him.
Sure.
But man, she was just cool.
I really like mine. I got a jet black one, and then the other one's black and brown.
Yeah.
Most of my Border Collies are true Border Collies. I got a couple of tri-colored ones.
Yeah. Do you have so I've been asking, like, which we'll probably get around to asking this, like, tell me about your favorite horse. But I'm now, like, I'm on the dogs now. It's like interesting. I didn't really expect to start talking about dogs, but they're another piece of the puzzle for being a cowboy, the cowboy perspective that we haven't talked about a lot on here. I've talked one time to a cop who was a canine cop, and he was talking about how good his dog was and how helpful. So I think it's a great little topic to explore. Do you remember a favorite dog? Do you have the favorite dog that you've ever had now? Is there such a thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've went through quite a few of them. And it was a big learning curve. Like, as far as dog cans go, I'm not anywhere close to what a guy would probably even call average. But I rely a lot on natural ability. And I got my one Kelpie dog is the one I've had the longest. He's 5. And he's probably the best dog, brokest dog I got. And then I got a 2-year-old Border Collie, and he's probably my favorite dog I've ever had. From the get-go, from a puppy, he was smart, easiest dog I've ever trained.
I've always considered, or it seemed like to me, like the best dogs I ever had were just great because they were great. It wasn't like I was great or something. Like you could just tell them, sit, and they sat.
Absolutely.
It didn't really take much training.
Yep.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah, with some of them, just like horses. Some are, really good just from the get-go, and some are harder. But it also depends on what you're using them. Like, I use them as a tool. I take them every day. I have 2 or 3 of them. I take every day. I split them. I have 7 of them. So, and they have to be naturally do it. In a way, I can help them, but if they don't want to bring stock to me, then they don't make my program. And that's how I sift tooth dogs.
And there's a big difference out there, too. Like, there's a big world in the trial dog deal. And like he's saying, he's not a dogman. I've definitely said I'm not a dogman, but we use dogs every day. But we realize, like, we don't have the most controlled dogs, or a trial dog, or a dog you could take to a pen, or on and on and on. But that's not what we use them for. It's not what they're appreciated for. And it's just a necessary evil, but you're going to go through a lot of dogs out there. So they kind of just have to be dogs, because you're going to have to get more. So, like, them good dogs out there, you're not going to win a show on, and maybe you can't even take any credit for training them. You just appreciate them in that whole strength thing. Like, a great story that would be an example is, like, when you and I couldn't get those yearlings across the creek, for example, because there was just so many places they could beat you, and it was kind of boggy, and they were kind of wild, and whatever. Like, we didn't have these fancy trial dogs to herd them up and come through the gate and be slow. But we did have, like, a pack of wolves, per se, and we did get over that creek.
Yeah.
And that's like, movement makes movement out there.
Yeah.
And that's what you need, is just a strong dog. And there's guys with way better dogs and whatever, but like that, I think that kind of maybe could clear up what he means as far as...
Yeah, versus, so, like, just the show horse deal, you can put it to work. Or the same example, right? So a trial dog, they're very broke, right? Very meticulous. My cow dogs, if I tell them to get back, they getting ahead or getting back or whatever I said, right? If we got run back calves, I don't have time to tell my dog, away, lay down, walk up easy. No, if shit's blowing away, they better be bringing it back.
Right.
Yeah.
So their help.
Yeah.
They need to think for themselves.
Like, paint the picture of a day for you. Like, how do you take off with the dogs? Are you going, so you're talking about a dog box on your truck. Are you typically driving somewhere, or do you just leave from where you live to go work? How does that go?
Sure. So usually we'll saddle, we all live at headquarters where I'm at now, and it's usually the same everywhere else I've been. So I'll have them at my house, and I'll take whichever one's first thing in the morning. They go with me. They either load in the back of the trailer with the horses, they ride back there a lot, or they get tied to the back of the pickup. From there, they get let out, and they go with me on circles. So you trot out there, and then, honestly, I use them to gather a lot, because I work a lot of mountain country.
Yeah.
So you'd be on a colt, or even just tired, out of horse, and you're on top of the ridge, and you got cows hung up in the bottom. You could send them dogs, and they'll trail the cows, and you just got to steer. So I used them a lot.
Oh, man. See, like, I bet, like, I kind of understand what you're talking about. I've never done it. But, like, for a lot of people, they're hearing what you're saying. They really don't know. They don't understand. It's like you're saying, well, they'll trail them, and I just got to direct them. So, basically, you're riding point, and the dogs are riding drag, and now it's a team.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, there's one cowboy with a bunch of teammates that are animals, from a horse to a dog, and you could even kind of picture the cows as teammates, accomplishing something.
Absolutely.
That's a cool way I hope everybody hears that. It's like, that's some insight that you just don't get every day.
And that's where I learned a lot, or got into the dogs mostly, because I went to Montana and worked for a guy, and I was the only cowboy there, which was awesome, right? I got to do all the riding, all the moves, learned a bunch, right? But to do it all by myself, it's like, I got to move all these cows. Well, now my lead's turning off the hill, so I got to come up here and turn the cows, and then I got to go back. So I just got dogs, bring them. Dogs are bringing up the back. I'm steering. I open the gate. Dogs bring them to the gate, shut the gate, get back on, and go on with my life.
And that's a common stigma, too, with people that don't like dogs. And there's a lot of people... deep within the cattle business that don't like dogs, or people that use them, and the common stigma always states that dogs will make cowboys lazy. Well, you could treat it that way if you have really good dogs and you want to be useless on circle and just send your dog out to do what you could have done. That's fine, but that's not what he's talking about. And like when you really use dogs to their full potential and your full potential, they're just an extension of what you're already doing. So you're going to work just as hard as you would have, and now you can do 10 times more by working that hard.
Absolutely.
I mean,
You're almost the cow boss, and they're your crew.
Yeah.
Basically. And the cow boss always outworks the crew if they're a good boss. So it can't make a lazy cowboy by utilizing dogs.
My experience has been, it's just a whole different scenario. So, like, I need to take that into account. But most of the time, dogs screw it all up. Like here in Comanche, Texas. Like, you bring dogs and you about got the cattle gathered and they run them off. I mean, it's like, so most everybody's like, don't bring dogs.
Sure. Well, and to an extent, you have to have a handle on them. You know, I'm not talking, I just went to the pound and picked up the first border collie dog, you know. You have to, you know, and if you can handle your dogs with your cattle, the better luck you'll have. So, like you're talking, come and scatter everything. Well, you could send your dogs and start them, and either your dog's broke enough that it's going to rate that cattle and just go the rate at a walk.
Yeah.
Or you can put it down on them. Some sort of stop. Could be a sit, could be a rollover, what? And mine's a down.
Gotcha.
So I send them out there and they're getting rogue, you know, screwing stuff up, down. And they got a shot collar off. They don't down, lay down.
Yeah.
And I can stop the whole project. Cows can be off and dogs completely out of it. There has to be a line there.
Yeah.
Of where you have some control.
And knowing the time and place, too, of like, are you going to be up against weak fences? Are there going to be baby calves? Are you going to be in this position versus that position? Or, like, he's run crews now. So how do you delegate spots of, like, if you got 4 cowboys and only one has a dog, that's going to change how you drop people off as well.
Absolutely.
So where do you drop the guy with the dog?
Closer to the back. So I'm a firm believer that cowboys shouldn't be in the back. Like, get out of the drag, especially if there's a dog. Because if you're in the drag, you're not stringing cattle. Because I want a cow to go, a cow trail is 1 cow wide, theoretically.
Yeah.
So you should walk 1 cow, 1 calf, cow, calf, cow, calf, right? If you're always in the drag, you're going to get wider.
Right.
So if you got good hands and good dogs, your dog should be in the back and you guys will be on the sides. So, and then you can judge off how broke your dog is. So you got a real broke dog, you should be able to be in the lead.
Yeah.
Right? If you got a greener dog, I'll put them towards the back so they can work their dog, but they don't have to be back there.
Right. I mean, see, that's cool stuff. Like, that gives me kind of chills, really, to have a guy kind of just explain it like that. So I got these little set of cows, and I get guys to come help us brand them, and we pretend like we're cowboys, work, but mostly it's businessmen who want to come brand cattle, and we get the job done, and we do it pretty well, I think. But there, I have a friend, a mentor, a guy that will kind of quit coming to these brandings because it frustrates him because I'm such a shitty boss.
Oh,
He's
sure.
like, I've worked for good bosses, and you're not a good boss. And it's not from I don't bark at people. It's just
Probably because you don't bark at people.
well, and I don't make the circle right, and I don't drop people off right, and so all that stuff is frustrating for him. So it's cool to hear Tucker say, well, this is how I think about it. Cow trail's 1 cow. If we're doing it right, dogs should be in the back. So thanks for painting that picture. I was also going to say, do you draw? Are you an artist? Do you do any stuff like that?
Nope. I tried a little bit of leather work, but it's pretty crude. You can use it and it'd work, but
I remember the old
pretty.
jackknife cut slobber straps.
Yeah, I have an old Latigo, use my pocket knife to cut me some new slobber straps. Yeah. They break in just all right.
Yeah.
But no, artistically, not really. I I welded for a winter, I guess. My dad, he's got a fencing company, and he's welded and worked on the rigs and did all that. So I got quite a bit of fabricating wise, and built some cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to say. Like, you're an artist. Almost all cowboys are. Almost any human, in my opinion, that goes and works really big country has an ability to entertain themselves when they're just out here kind of doing a monotonous type thing, just riding miles and miles looking for cows. When we started this conversation and you painted the most vivid picture with your voice of how you first met Kyle, like, you didn't need to say it was a 2-wheel drive F-150 dog box in the back, 3-horse slant, took the slants out so I could get 4 horses in there. You could have said, I drove up to camp and here's Kyle. Instead, you took the time to paint the picture for us. That, to me, was impressive because I can now picture it in my mind what's happening, and that's artistic to me. So I appreciated you doing it like that. It's made me think, man, he may be a little bit artistic because those details were valuable to you, part of the story.
Sure.
Where a not artistic person leaves all that out. Like, it's not relevant.
But his attention to that is what I've always admired of him and respect about him, and it's what makes him good. It's what's made him successful, because he was young when I met him, and of course he liked rough horses and rope and shit like we all still do, but never did Tucker have a worse day when we weren't doing that. Or like him and I have been through some knockout, drag out stuff with cattle, or different scenarios, or different weather, or different days, and Tucker always seen the big picture of what we were doing and why, and it never bothered him to do the stuff that wasn't so fun. It was all just as fun to him, and he paid attention to the big picture, and if he got lost one time, he wasn't gonna again, and he could learn country fast. That's probably my biggest passion, is learning country, learning feed, learning how cattle come through country and how to gather that country, and Tucker's an incredible guy to do that. And he, in a very short time after leaving the ranch that we worked together at, he was a cow boss or jigger boss at one of the biggest places around, which we should probably get into what that looked like. But that's a very young guy coming from not very many jobs, now running one of the biggest places there is successfully. And it's his attention to detail and the appreciation of the big picture, not just the small pieces that are fun, that make him incredible.
So how'd you get that job?
I actually got a phone call. So I was welding for my dad this last winter, and I was looking for something. The grass was turning, it was starting to be springtime, and I was like, I need to do something. But I really wanted something more than just a cowboy deal, because forever I thought I had to be a boss. You know, I want to got to run the place. You know, so I always had the outlook of like, okay, so if I was going to do it, this is how I would do it, you know. And interviewed for a job in Montana, a cow boss job, didn't get it. And I got a phone call one day. We were going out to fence, and Donnie Love calls me, and he goes, hey, so I got this place over here, and they want me to cow boss it or whatever, but I told him I wouldn't do it because I need a lead out. Would you do it? And he told me a deal, and I was like, yeah, sure. So we ended up doing it, and yeah, that's what it was. He gave me a crew, and I showed up, gave me a crew, and all the freedom. Just said, go do it.
How old were you at that point?
I just turned 22.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And when he says place, I think you should elaborate on what place that is, because it's one of the more famous in our circle of buckarooing, biggest, more famous places, and probably the coolest place in Wyoming.
Absolutely. It's the coolest ranch I've ever worked on, but just for the simple fact that it was so wild. Like, so it was a 450,000 acre ranch, ran all the way from Thermopolis, Wyoming to DuBois, Wyoming, and there was not a fence one on that place. Maybe the outside. So what we did is we had it split in half. We had what we called the south side and the north side. So the south side is where kind of all the delinquents and everybody went, and it was more desert country. So the reservation owned it. It's called the Arapaho Ranch, and the Arapaho Reservation owned it. So you had to have X amount of tribal members on your crew per white guy.
In the South or all over the whole thing?
The whole ranch.
Okay.
So, but we split it in half because we'd have one crew on each side because there was no fence. So them cattle would just roam.
Yeah.
Right. So in order to keep everything split and kind of have, your ducks in a row so you were covering everything, we just split it. So we had all kind of just our numbers, the numbers we had to make up for natives, because they'd just send you whoever. They could go in the office and be like, I'm unemployed, need a job. Send you to the ranch.
Yeah.
So they went to the south side of the farm crew, and I had 4 white guys on my crew. And we were strictly on the north side. We'd go help Brand on the south side some, but north side was all ours.
And it was the kind of wilder side of the ranch from a terrain perspective?
Just everything in general. It was lack of management is what it was. So you'd have, by the semi-loads of 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old steers. Branded, got an ear notch, got a button, turned out, never got gathered. Ever, for 10 years, they'd be out there. You'd have bulls, full-grown bulls, and is unreal. They're straight-up wild animals. You'd ride up on a 6, 7-year-old bull, and he'd have freaking abs up his arm, just freaking stacked and mean. Insanely mean. Would hunt you down. Yeah. I roped a big maverick bull with big old horns and got him lined out, and we were cooking, right? Went out there, roped him, and I pulled my slack and got a wrap on. And before my horse was stopped, it knocked him down. He jumped up and was under me.
Wow.
So, it was just it was life or death, really.
Oh,
with
yeah.
some of them things,
Is that one of those times? So I asked you if you ever thought you might die, and you were like, really more times than not, I thought I might die.
Yeah. Well,
is that what you're talking about?
Well, some of it, yeah, because they were dangerous and they were very mean about it. They hadn't been handled and nobody's going to mess with them. And you're talking, 3,000-pound animal that is friggin' in shape and strong.
So
what
was that
from
part
that
of your
horse
job?
Going down? What's the rest of that story? What come of?
Well, so my horse didn't end up going down. I was able to get out of the way enough. He just ended up hooking me. Because some of them, it never happened to me, but my old boss had a story at the Arapaho, and they had a bull knock him down. And he had to run circles around his horse that the bull had knocked down. The bull knocked his horse down and then camped on that horse and tried to get him while he was on the ground. The only thing that saved him is that horse that was laying on the ground, and that bull just freaking wouldn't get off of him. And out of nowhere, you'd be trailing a set of cows, and you'd see them because you'd catch them wild cattle because they had some trader cows there too, so they were fairly a little gentler. And then
a little gentler,
yeah. You had your slow set. I always said you had 2 leads. So you'd gather, and your wild stuff would freaking run off, right? And you'd just kind of bump them a little bit because I had a huge zone, huge bubble, right? You could be up on the ridge, 500-600 yards away. And you caught an eye, you turned them, right? So you just kind of bumped those. And then you'd trot back and you'd catch the lead that the rest of your crew was with.
Yeah.
So you'd be trailing a set of cows along, and you got them all put together. And they'd go up and down your string, while you're trailing them, trying to look for a hole.
Yeah. And
if they couldn't find one, they'd make one. And I had 3 bulls, and they took some cows with them, but there was 3 of them, and they slick, 4 years old, big, and they were baldy cows, or baldy bulls. And up the side of the mountain, we had them in a canyon, and they chased me up the mountain and moved me. Knocked my horse out of the way. We're not going.
Right. So they just stay there.
Yeah. Or you go catch them.
Yeah.
And that can get as wild as you want. You want to go catch him, tie him to a rock, go back the next day and start leading him out? Go for it.
Right.
I mean, you'd get them big steers in the corral, and they didn't have anything super nice. Like, we weren't talking 8-foot steel continuous round. Like, it was probably 8 foot tall, but it was all decrepit poles and stuff. And them steers, you had to sideline them. So we would tie same side front and hind leg together, so they can't jump. They can still move and run, but they can't jump.
Yeah.
Because you'd go catch all these things, and you'd dump them in the corral, and they'd run out the other side. Or
Just
they'd
through
jump
it?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're huge, An 8-foot rail fence, their back's at the top of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they just go wherever they want. It was insane. I've never seen anywhere ever a cow be able to do that or be that wild.
It's foreign to me to hear you say it. It's just like, it's hard for me to even picture, but I can see it in your eyes as we're sitting here talking. It's like, it's real, man. I've seen it. I'm not just dreaming this last night.
It's for real. Well, and so I had some guys come up from Arizona to be on the summer crew. And them guys were like, yeah, man, like, it's like Arizona, going out catching them wild mavericks and stuff, but, like, just on a bigger scale. So, like, when I'm saying, like, there were them bulls and them steers that didn't get gathered, like, I mean, just by the herds of them. And
Hundreds?
Hundreds. Like, I sent 5 semi-loads in the 6 months I was there.
Of the wild ones?
Yep, and that
y'all
was
just went and caught and tied down? And
or caught Brandon. So what I did is I pulled a lot of them at Brandon, right? I had my panels, right? And I set up 2 pins on the end of my trap. And they were just like, there were 3 pins. And I had 3 gates, one at the end, one in the middle, and one coming from the big pin. And I'd sort them big pricks because you couldn't hardly get them by themselves, right? But every once in a while you'd get a set in every jag of cows. You'd go gather 60 head of cows, and you'd have 3 trailer loads of stuff to haul. And I'd sort every time. We'd pull them into them pins and sort them. So you'd pull them into the first pin or that middle pin and sort them, and then you got your junk, right? So you got your safety gates. You'd kick them into the last pin, open it up, reload it. And I caught a lot of them that way. Because you can go around and catch them, but it wasn't as productive.
Did that make you successful? Like, did that make you more successful than the previous guy or the next guy? Like, catching those wild, crazy ones. That seems like free money to me.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
They didn't even know. So, when I went to turn bulls out, I had like 12 head of 10-year-old bulls, 8-year-old bulls. They didn't want to cull them until they were pretty old, right? And we had some like 6-year-old bulls in there that weren't very good. And I was like, I think we should get rid of these things. Like, they're junk. They're not good. We'll turn them out. Chances are we're probably not going to get them back anyways. And that manager, he just worked in the office, but he was calling everybody's shots. And he would not let me get rid of them. And you want to know what he told me? He goes, we can't get rid of those. We don't have enough bulls out there. We won't get a breed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean there's no bulls out there? Like, there's so many bulls out there that don't even have a brand on them. You don't even know what they are. They're just slick out there.
Right.
And
that makes
like,
it kind of crazy to even buy a bull and put out because, like, you got no guarantee how these cows are getting bred or that they're getting bred by these bulls.
Yep. But he was never, but he was never out there to see it. So he didn't believe me. He was like, no, he made me turn them all out. And I was like, all right, you don't believe me? Watch this. And I mean, I sent 3 semi-loads of just slick bulls.
Did he believe you then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
he was like, where are you finding these things? Well, what? And I was like, get out of the office. Go look around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think
it's not even hard to find them. Just go out there for an hour.
Yeah, it was just feral. And it was on the reservation. So, I mean, it was a different kind of feral. Like, it was a free-for-all. Nobody cared.
Man, that does seem wild. So where'd you come from? Or you was about to say something.
I was just going to say, how do you feel like that ties into of like, so that's how you deal with wild stuff that they don't even know exists. And then the other side of the extreme is how we deal with their black farmer cows that they're so obsessed with that they don't go out and see either. Like, how have you experienced that backlash or dealing with black cattle that they're so proud of?
Sure. Well, and I've been real fortunate that way. Like, I've worked for, everywhere I've worked had pretty good cows, and if they wanted to act like black cows, they
got treated like black cows. Yep.
You know? And people that hear that will know. The people that know will know.
Yeah, people that have done cow torture know what cow torture is.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to
works.
be torture, you know, as much as just training. You know, just doesn't matter what cow or what color they are. If you're going to turn them out and they're going to go make a living, they have to work a certain way, yeah.
Explain that a little bit. I think I know.
Even just lining out is training.
Yes.
Yeah,
so how do you do that?
Trail them, line them out. So
do you gather them just for fun, or is it you train on them when you need to gather them for a purpose? Like, I've always wondered that. Like, people will say, those cows aren't broke. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you break them? And I never have really got an answer.
Sure. I think it kind of depends on where you're working. So, like, a lot of people, they're on a big enough scale. Like, yeah, you'll, like, scattering cattle. So you'll move a big set, you know, to a new pasture, and they're all in one bunch. If they don't scatter, that's a good time to start training on them. So you'll go grab 100 of them, trail them to this corner of the pasture. Next day, you'll go grab another 150, you'll trail them to this corner of the pasture. And you can work on them more individual, I guess. So when you got 100 head of cows, you can make them pretty well do whatever you want as far as training-wise. You can really train on that 100 head and get them going versus you got 700 of them and there's 2 or 3 of you out there. And you go to beating on cows.
It's pretty spread thin.
There's a lot of holes.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, you're still talking on a scale that doesn't make sense to me. Like 100 cows. I don't see 100 cows in one group.
Well, and I think that's where people get confused when we talk about gathering cattle. Or like, when do you go gather them to train them? Because most people think about gathering cows, it happens once a year. Or maybe twice a year to bring them home and to brand. But like when we're gathering cattle, they're not necessarily even being caught. You're just moving from here to here, to here, to here throughout the year for various reasons of seasonal allotments, water or feed, or times a year, or coming home or whatever. So there's year-round gathering all the time, not just to be caught in a pen. And I don't think a lot of people even know that.
yeah, for sure. And then that's another deal with where you're at, I think. Like, the best handling set of cows I've ever been around was the 400 that I took care of by myself in Montana. And that's because that's all I had to do. So it was small enough that guy hired me as a cowboy, and he had pivots and stuff. And it was funny because I used to go out, and when I first got there, I'd go trot to the cows and think I did a real good job, you know. Come back, be like, what do you got for me to do? And he's like, well, I hired you to ride, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, unless you want to irrigate, I'd find something to do. And he would literally, he wanted you to. You'd go out there and you'd hold his cattle up. You'd throw them all in the corner with your dogs and just ride through them, make them hold up. Go get them, go trail them around, just mess with them. Always in them, always working with them. That's how you're going to get your cows really good.
Why did he want that, do you think? I mean, I also sit here and I wonder, how could we paint the picture of what Tucker's saying in a way that people who don't know what holding them up in the corner is and just getting cows to hold up, like, the best way I can explain it, and y'all jump in and be like, well, no, that's not exactly but what you want is a cow, you know, even a group of cows that will move away from your pressure and don't run off. So to me, the reason for holding them up is you're training them that, hey, I'm here. I'm a part of you. You don't have to run off. I'm not going to kill you. So that's the holding them up reason, just so you know, like, if you need to ride through them, they're not all going to scatter and run off.
Yeah.
And then, even in the holding up piece, you teach them, okay, move away from me. Now then I'll release the pressure. Like, you moved away, now I'm going to reward you because that's what I'm looking for. Is that right? Does that explain
To
it?
a degree, it's definitely not as methodical as if you were doing that in a round pen on a colt, per se. Like, you're not going that methodical about it, but it is the mindset or the general idea of roe deering cattle to, if you're going to ride through them and pull something out of that group, if you're going to ride through them and cut them in half, if you just want to evaluate them, there's times where you're going to hold cattle like that with a crew and brand them, like a roe deer branding type scenario. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to, or even like you're talking about training them to trail out, like riding up to your lead and coming back on a group of cows, getting them to go by you actually speeds up cattle and lines them out faster than trying to pie them from the back or whatever. So then you can do that even in alleys, like with wild cattle, and you're not doing it for the sake of training them. It's just you have to do it anyway, so you could just as well do it the way that's going to make them better the next time. It's not to train your cattle.
That's a good point.
But you're going to have to work those cattle again, so why wouldn't you want it better and better and better? So just get them to go by you in an alley. You can hold them in an alley. They're not going to run over you in an alley, but they will come by you without batting their eyes and wincing about going through you or whatever. Like, the whole training deal isn't that we're prideful in training these cattle, so we're going to go out for fun and train them like you train a dog. It's just a simple fact and truth that you have to work with those cattle year round. You could just as well do it in a sense or mindset every time to make them better about that every time, and then you're putting less stress on them, you're taking less weight off of them, you're doing it faster so you can do something else. It just works. It just makes sense. It's just why you would do it that way.
Yeah, just making those cattle handle.
Yeah. I mean, I've been around cattle that don't handle in central Texas and, maybe 1,000-acre pasture or something. We're not talking like no fences and all these things. But cows that don't handle are a pain, like that you don't really have to have if you'll just do it right. Get a little better every time. Like, you can't just snap your finger and have trained cattle. But every time, if you go with the intention, we got to do something with them, let's train them while we're doing it. Next thing you know, you got trained cattle.
And it's just going to make your life that much easier. It's going to go that much better, that much more productive, that much more you're going to get done.
Yeah.
Were you with us on the desert when we roe deered at Garrote and call roped a cow?
Yeah.
Okay, so Carnahan is one that I asked to be here that said he's not about this stuff.
Okay.
So for that reason, and with me giving him the chance, I think it's fair to pick on Call and tell a funny story. But, like, here's something that can just happen that, like, it's not like the cows weren't broke. Like, these cows are kind of, like, you can hold them in roe deer, but you can't mess up either. So we got the whole crew out there, and we're backed up against, like, a pond, and then off that pond is a huge hill that used to be in the pond. Like, it's a man-made pond.
Gotcha.
And the innards of the pond sit next to the pond. And we're roe deering against that corner. And there's not much point to this story other than it's really funny, and it's just something that happens.
Sure. I mean, to me, that's like a funny story. It's fun.
This young kid, his brother worked out there full time, and this kid just come for wagon, and he struck it off with Tucker and I, and we were buds or whatever, but he's a lot closer to Tucker's age, and he's kind of a hot shot, I'd say. Like, he's
pretty cool.
Not arrogant, but he definitely knows he's talented kind of guy, and he's sometimes can be too cool for school. Like, he don't want to make the mistake or whatever. His first big old loop. See, roe deer branding, you can't just think you're going to crash through all these cows to sneak a loop on, or put a loop on one. You got to sneak one on the outside. So you kind of, everyone's holding roe deer, and you kind of coax these calves to the outside, just curiosity, and you're just kind of drifting your horse along, and these calves come to look, and you just sneak a loop on one and get as short as you can, but it's not quite as all perfect as in a pen, so you just take them out, and then someone will follow up and heel them at the kitchen that you have away from this roe deer or whatever. And old Call, first time in Nevada, that first big old loop he went to sneak on ropes is like 1,800-pound cow.
And I mean, slicker than you can do it. Like, I watched him throw it, and like he pulled the slack like he was gonna stop it. And I mean, like, as snappy as you could rope one, just had her. And I was like, oh, yep, there we go. You got that one, buddy. There's no getting around that one.
Yeah. And like the whole brr, and the boss like F.
Right.
Ah.
Well, he ended up blowing the whole roe deer out. So, like, when you rope one of them calves, a lot of time you'll rope them and then you kind of get out. And if they miss, you can get short out there because them cows will get to pushing on your outsides too much.
Yeah.
And he got to milling around in there and got that cow wound up. Gosh, there were cows and cows blowing out
shit,
everywhere.
Jumping in the pond. One kid had the cow kind of half healed, and his horse fell down on that side hill and can't get his dallies. Everyone's yelling and screaming. Cows are going in every direction, and you don't know if you should help or just get around what's spilling or
Right. Yeah, like what do you
yeah you're trying not to laugh because it is kind of funny.
Everybody's having a meltdown, kind of freaking out.
But yeah, that's just an example of a pointless story that we think is funny.
Well,
Yeah, but it's part of training them cows too.
Yes.
You know, once you get them real good about holding up, you know, and actually listening, the more you can get into them.
Yeah.
So the better them cows will hold up and let you mill through them, the better off you're going to be in that scenario. But the problem you have with that is they're range cows, so you're not going to hold up 30 head of cows, I mean, unless you're doing something with them, you know. So them cows are supposed to be a little wilder, right?
Yeah.
Just the more of a natural wild instinct.
You kind of want them to leave when you want them to leave too.
For sure.
So you're always dancing on a fine line, and
Yeah,
like
you
that.
don't want a bunch of deadheads that you can't really get to go.
That kind of wild wreck, I bet, was contained in 45 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, it
was
wasn't a
all
long
back
deal.
to fine again.
Yeah.
And maybe it was 5 minutes, but it didn't feel like that long.
Sure.
It wasn't the worst wreck I've ever saw.
No.
Basically, you
Just
had
funny.
so like what happened? Did a couple of guys kind of end up helping him get the rope off the cow, and then the rest of the guys jump on? I'm assuming people were off their
Basically,
horse.
like 3 guys were already working the kitchen. So it only takes one other guy to rope that cow, and the rest of the guys are already on the ground. And then if you can just think of your deer and your crew as a corral, you're basically a portable corral. So it just got bigger. They were never out. Your pen just got bigger for a second.
And then you brought them back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool picture. So what role does a horse... Oh, are you still working in the same big Arapaho Ranch?
Nope, I left in September.
Okay. All right. So you've moved on. I'm curious, like, Kyle's popularity is centered a lot around horsemanship and his willingness to kind of say what he thinks about it. And what do you think about horsemanship? What kind of role does that play in your life?
It's all of it.
Really?
Yep, that's the main reason. I mean, from forever, it's all I've ever wanted to do. Growing up, we always had 30 head of horses around, and I mean, it was always around it, and that's what I wanted to do. I really thought I wanted to train horses for a long time. Went and worked for a trainer for 6 months. Kind of realized maybe that's what I didn't exactly want to do full time. You know, I missed being outside too much, but I didn't want to be outside and work a normal job. Like, I wanted to be with my horse, and yeah, that's everything. I mean, I work on one every day, and when I get off work, I go ride my outside horses. I mean, it's what I do every day, and that's what I wanted to do.
How do you make money like that?
So, how I do it is, you know, I try to have a few of my own, because you can sell those. That's where you're going to make your real money, right? You're going to flip those, and then you're getting paid. So you ride those at work, right, and you get a wage. But if you don't ride your own and you ride an outside horse, now you're getting paid twice.
Yeah.
You're getting paid to ride that outside horse, and you're getting your day wage. So I'll usually just split it half and half. I'll have half mine and half outside horses, and I'll just ride. That's where I make all my saving and extra money, is the outside horses.
What do you mean saving? You save money?
I try to.
That's kind of a crazy concept that really we've talked a lot and nobody has said the word save money because
Right.
it's rarely thought about in America these days. It's like, yeah, I save money. I try to. It's a great principle. It's a great discipline,
Sure.
So out of curiosity, why? Why do you try to save money?
Well, because ideally I want to have my own deal, and I'm trying to do it all with horses, right? But I've never been to the bank for a loan. I don't know any money like that I do. Anything I have, I own.
I bet you there's very few people that can say stuff like that.
Sure.
Anything I have, I own. I don't owe anybody anything. That's a very cowboy way of thinking about stuff, at least in my mind. I mean, I think some cowboys they're willing to gamble it all and be really in debt trying to make the big win, but then there's some that are like, if I have it, I own it, and that makes me feel good about who I am.
Absolutely. And the only way for me to do that is save money. Like, I can tell you I save money, but I might be broke as broke gets, But, I mean, your pickup breaks or something, got to go to the horse, buy a horse, have vet bills. Still life, just the spontaneous things that happen.
Yeah.
Could be gone, but if you don't have that or, start building it, you're never going to have anything when that happens. Or if you're good, by the time you're 30... and if you save something, maybe you can buy something.
Yeah.
Early.
Man, I think it's like a little thing I wish I could just plug into my kids.
Sure.
Because it's a tough discipline. It means delayed gratification. Like, it means you have to wait to have the thing you want. Because it would be just as easy to probably go borrow it and get it now.
Absolutely.
But it's like there's something I really admire about you in that. And I wish and I hope everybody admires it, but I'm afraid they won't.
Sure.
Well, I think to even appreciate it to the degree that we have that trait is you'd have to live a while without any money. To know the value of saving $10, you have to know what it's like to not have $10, literally not have $10.
Yep. Well, and I've had that outlook since day one. Day after graduation, I was out. And I didn't want help. I wanted it all to be me. And that's really helped me because, when it gets hard, and you mess up, being a kid or whatever, it's real life.
Yeah.
And it makes you really think about that, but you have all the responsibility. So it's like, if I needed help, I didn't call. I just figured it out.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really admirable. You said another thing I want to highlight, maybe put a yeehaw behind, which was, while you are working for other people or with other people, you're thinking, well, if this was mine, this is how I would do it. Like, I think a lot of people don't do that. Like, they just don't put that effort in. They're just there. I'm going to get paid in a little while. Nobody's paying you to think about how you would do it if it was up to you. That's a rare characteristic. I just don't think everybody's like that. So high five on that.
Thanks. I was just trying to think, I don't want to be at the bottom forever. I started out here, cool, but I don't want to be here forever.
Yeah.
So you look at the guy that's your boss. You're like, all right, well, he has to think about, how Circle's going to lay, what we're doing tomorrow. I'm on the cowboy crew not doing anything, right? Just there to get my check. Well, that guy that's making more money than you, has a better house than you, has more horses than you, has everything, you want. Well, he's already figuring out what we're doing next month.
Yeah.
He's got an idea where we're going. You might be doing something here today, but he's already thinking about where we're going to end.
Right. And like talk about like how some of them different positions have made you a much better cowboy and learn things a lot faster too. Because to a degree, when you're green and know nothing, you should have a crew job to some degree or be around good cowboys to learn the gists for sure.
Well, absolutely.
But I think it's common for some cowboys to just fall in their spot in a crew and never get better or learn out of that comfort bubble. Whereas when you go to run either like a camp, like I kind of have done on most places I've been, ended up the camp guy, or I went out to the desert after you left or whatever. You've had cow boss jobs, or not even running a crew, but jobs like now and different ones that were similar to this where you're running your own set of cattle. Now that you've learned a few things from like successful cowboys or being parts of crew, like the difference in what you learn and what you think about and the things you take on now when you're alone, and it is up to you what you're doing next month and how you're going to get out of this allotment with these cows, and there is no one coming to help. The amount that will teach you about horses, dogs, and cattle too.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you say you prefer animals or people?
Animals. For sure.
People are complicated and
Drama.
yeah,
I don't
mean
like drama.
and lots of stuff, and like I think that's a lot of something that I think you can like teach me, which is just like the being totally comfortable with myself and this horse and these dogs and these cows, and man, that's good enough.
Right. Well, and it's super easy to get caught up in that deal, especially when you want to be good. You know, you're like, well, I got to do this, and it's not good enough. And you're like, well, this guy I really look up to, but he thinks I suck. You know? Or I'm riding all these horses, and this person said one thing bad, you know? And you're sitting there, and you're trying to be a people pleaser. For me, anyways, it was because I just wanted to do good.
Yeah.
You know, and you wanted people to like you, and you wanted a good name. You can't worry about that. I mean, to an extent, it's important.
Right.
Because you're relying on them to get paid, but you're not going to make everybody happy, and you'll get way more sleep at night once you figure out that you got to do it for yourself before you can do it for somebody else.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's brilliant. Yeehaw to that. It's like you got to do it for yourself before you can do it for somebody.
Because you won't, in my opinion, you won't do as good a job. If you don't believe in it and you don't want to do it, you're not going to give your 100%. You can say you did your best, but it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And that's sometimes where people need to really be honest with themselves and listen to themselves and like what do you want to do and what do you think you're good at? Because I think sometimes we can get so caught up in like, well, this thing could make more money, or I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this, and maybe you can. And maybe it is a good idea. But if it's not the one that you would actually pick and what you really enjoy, you're not going to be as good at it.
No.
The passionate option is what you're going to excel in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you just put yourself, you're stepping backwards if you don't do it.
Yeah.
Did you have brothers, sisters? I'm trying to figure out how you are. Like, are your parents... Where did you pick up this kind of gritty, humble, quiet, yet badass demeanor?
Well, for the humble thing is, the guy I actually work for now, Russ Hansworth, he told it to me right out of high school. And I was real bad about thinking I knew everything, right? Thought I was pretty good. And he told me stay green, because once you get ripe, you go rotten. And I always think of that when it comes to, like, bragging and stuff, because you don't want to talk down on yourself.
Right.
But I also don't feel the need to tell everybody how cool I am.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to come up and talk to me, I'm going to talk to them like we're talking right now. We're the same person, you know.
Yeah.
Whether I know something more, you know something more than I do, you know.
I mean, the truth is, everybody knows something more than I do, and I know more than they do in some way.
Right. But the only thing arrogance has ever got me is turned down.
Yeah.
Like lost opportunity. Met somebody really cool that knew more than me, And maybe I was like, oh, I'm not going to go talk to that guy. I'm going to wait till he comes talk to me. Well, he's not going to come talk to you.
Yeah.
That's a great, I wish I could mark the video right here because those are great clips. Like what you're saying is like, I wish it could just be broadcasted to the world. The only thing that arrogance ever got me was turned down.
Yep.
That's beautiful. I've never heard it like that. I've never heard that quote.
And like for people that think they don't possess those values, I think everyone does, because I think they'd be surprised to know how much him and I have just talked about these things in the bunkhouse and struggled with them, or like, why this or why that, or do you ever fight your head with this or that, or what about this horse? Like, we battle it too. He's just an incredible handler at all that stuff, and it's allowed it to excel.
Yeah.
Like, he's excelled because of these strugglesome things.
Well, and I think you have to want it, is what it really comes down to. Because there's going to be a lot of stuff you don't want to do, and it's going to suck sometimes. But if you want it, you'll make it work. Like,
Yeah.
I moved freaking 12 hours away from my house with that pickup I sold you. It took me 16 hours to get back, 60 miles an hour, And it's like, I loaded up, and everybody was like, you can't take that to Nevada. Are you crazy? 19-year-old kid loaded my whole life in that thing and just left.
Now, are you married? Do you have a family?
I just have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I do have 3 younger brothers.
Oh, okay. That's right. We kind of skipped by that. So you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
Do any of your brothers have a similar story or mindset?
They all still live at home, and they just work for the fencing company. But, yeah, very driven. If they want it, they're going to go get it and not scared to work.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that helped me, too, is not. When it gets hard, put your head down and do it. Because, the world's still going around. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Even, like, I went to his house one time. We were on the way to a horse sale, and his little brother was maybe 6, 7, but all day and all of his free time was spent with his set of tools, working on his pedal bikes. And
Yeah.
very, very self-motivated to go what he'd like to do.
Was that your dad, your mom, both of them?
My dad, we were never really wealthy, I wouldn't say. Pretty poor for the most part. And and my dad was always trying something to get on his own. So, started out cowboying, had a couple kids, didn't work, went to the oil field. Left the oil field, went to be a welder. Went back to the oil field, came back, started his fencing business. But he would always come back, be a horseshoer, and be like, gosh, not making enough money, go back.
Yeah.
So
dropping 4 kids sets a pretty big set of responsibilities out in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. But and then being the oldest, I was there all the time. So, from the very get-go, it was like, if you want something, you want to do it, great. But you're going to have to go do it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to hold you back. But if you want to do it, you got to put everything, you got to set yourself in that lane and stay there.
Yeah.
And go grab it.
Yeah.
It's out there for everybody. I don't remember who said it, but somebody said life's a garden, but you got to dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a basic concept that seems so hard to even challenge. But it's like people want to challenge it. It's like, why would you even want it gave to you?
Right.
Why would you even want it gave to you? It seems worthless at that point.
It's not the shine of the shovel. It's how deep it's willing to dig, right?
Absolutely.
What about your mom? What's she like?
She's an angel, to be honest with you. She got 4 pretty hellacious boys, and she homeschooled. I was homeschooled through freshman year, and then the rest of my brothers went freshman year, but I graduated from a TT school. But she was always just a stay-at-home, always taking care of us, and then whatever we had, we always had 4-H steers. They had a couple hundred head of sheep at one time. They got a bunch of goats now. Always kind of side hustling, had something there.
Did you ever look at your mom and think, dang, I wonder what she does all day?
Yeah, me and my mom didn't get along for a long time growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, because what I would have expected you to say is no, like she's keeping the house, she's keeping us, you know. So it's like everybody makes these assumptions,
Sure.
and then, oh no, the reality's different than the assumption.
Right. Well, and I mean, most of that's just being a kid.
Yeah.
But it was like there was so much to do at home, and then when my dad wasn't there, and then so it was like me and my brothers were doing all this, and then there's my mom, you know. It's got more kids, but when you're freaking 15 years old out there, little punk, you're like, I'm doing everything out here. What are you even doing, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean,
did you have to wash your own clothes or make your own bed or cook your own meals?
Nope.
Oh, so mom might have been doing something.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just don't appreciate it.
Yep.
I mean, high five, Tucker's mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And a lot of moms out there. It's funny, like we're spending time together. I've never met you before. You never met me. You know Kyle. Like we're all kind of connected through Kyle. And we get to talking about just stuff in life, like which is how much we appreciate our partners, our wives, our girlfriends. And then you start looking back and you're like, man, how much I appreciate my parents. Or, you know, even when those relationships are strained or even non-existent, you know, there's still conversations that are like, you know, I still love them. I still see maybe I couldn't pick it up at that day or that time, but they cared.
Absolutely. Well, and I didn't realize that till I got older. Like I'm really good with my parents now. Really good friends, but till you get out there and you actually experience what it is. Well, and that's because I used to argue with them. That's why I left right after graduation. I was like, I gotta get out of here, right? Like, you guys don't know nothing. I can go do my own life. You get out there and you're like, wow. Thank you.
Right.
You know? And then you get older and you start hanging around like, I have some older friends with kids, you know? And they freaking, you watch them act and everything. And you're like, I go home and tell mom, like, thank you for not killing us. Like, I'm sorry. We're freaking little shitheads. Like, we're terrible. You know? Just freaking terrorize the crap out of everything. But no, she was freaking always had us when we were in everything. Like, even being homeschooled, you know, we were in Awanas, did FFA, did 4-H. I mean, we were always doing stuff.
When you kind of get out there on your own 2 feet, it becomes blatantly obvious how much they did support you, even if it lots of times feels like they didn't, because like they're putting up time and money for you to get to do a thing that you might not understand fully until you're kind of on your own. You're like, oh, there is nothing free. Like nothing just shows up because I want it. And anything I had that I didn't have to get myself, mom and dad had to get it in some way, or grandma and grandpa, somebody.
Well, and that's another thing I was pretty fortunate to have, I think, is we didn't do anything unless we showed our parents that we wanted to do it. Be like, oh, I'd like to rope. We'll go rope the dummy.
Yeah.
I ain't seen you rope dummy. That's fine. You want to go rope, you want to go ride bucking horses, whatever, but you're going to have to show me that you're going to go put the time in to do it before I take it. We're not going to go try it. My dad was super big in that. He's like, anything worth doing is worth doing right. He's like, you want to do it? That's cool. We'll do it. We'll figure it out. But you're going to have to show me that this is actually something you're going to go do.
Yeah. And that's a good way to look at it or whatever, but I was just going to kind of follow into like when I was around you and we lived together, like I know I was older than you, but I acted quite a bit younger than I do now. So we were maybe kind of wild.
Sure.
And we had goals and we had wants and we had ambitions for sure, and we dang sure weren't lazy, but I think our goals and wants and ambitions were pretty like short-lived and scatter-minded, and we were just kind of running for the day and kind of going day by day, living for the moment kind of thing. And you've obviously come a long way since then, as have I, and I was just wondering like how you would like connect the dots or like explain what you see a goal now? Like, you don't even have to get into how you used to look at it, but like, what are your how have your goals shaped into now that you've seen what it's like to bust your ass for a boss that don't appreciate what you did, but then a boss that does, or running your own place, selling some horses, making some horses, saving some money, thinking about how you'd like to treat your girlfriend? Like, how have your life goals shaped up for like the next 5 years? How would you paint that picture?
Like what they look like?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, where I'm at right now, I got a really good spot as far as a job. And the 5-year plan is I'm just going to make a pile of money, or as much money as I can. I'm going to sell, and I'm going to ride as many outside horses as I can. I'm going to keep this job because it's good, right? To take care of me. I have everything I need. So eventually, say, it's more of a 10-year plan. But I want to be able to buy my own place, whether it's got a barn on it already or it's just a piece of sagebrush.
Yep.
But I need to own dirt.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real instinctual kind of thing, I think, in a lot of cowboys is,
well,
by gosh, I'm going to own a piece of dirt. That's the way it is. And I get to do anything that's mine, and I can choose. It's like people talk consistently. People will say, I ride out side horses, but I'll have a few of my own because I know I get to make all the decisions on those that are mine.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and just like the dirt thing, like cowboying, it's great. I love it. Wish I could do it forever. The sad fact is you can't do it forever. And it's really sad to see them guys that stay at a place for 15, 20 years, you know. They get old, they get crippled, and they shell them out. Sorry, you can't do it anymore. Go. And
good luck.
You worked at a ranch your whole life. You don't have anything. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there a question you're hoping we don't answer or ask?
Not really. I don't think.
Good, because I was going to ask it. If you're crazy enough to tell me, I hope you don't ask me about this, then I was going to be like, so tell me about that.
Nothing?
Nope,
Nothing.
I don't think so. I was pretty well ready for about anything. I think I didn't really know what to expect.
What? So we've done it now for over an hour, and I've enjoyed it. Like, I haven't been one time wandering my brain onto something else, because everything you were telling was interesting to me. I think the people listening and watching, it will be interesting to them. So for the next guy that's a lot like Tucker, how did you feel about doing a podcast now that you've done it? Had you ever done one before?
Nope, first one.
Yeah. So, like, what was that experience like?
It's been good. I really like it, and it's nice to share. You know, nobody really asks me too much because I am 23 years old. Like, when people walk in, and even when I was the boss, I had the first stall right at the door, and somebody'd walk in, and I had a 40-year-old guy on my crew, and they'd walk past my stall at the other end of the bar, and they'd talk to that guy because they thought he was the boss.
Yeah.
You know, so it's cool to share, especially being younger, and if people actually want to listen, because
I promise they want to listen. Like, you're doing things that other people try to do and couldn't do or didn't do, and so, I mean, there's a lot of, I think you'll find respect for your mindset, your ability to succeed, the things you think about doing. So,
sure.
Really high five on that stuff. And what about your favorite horse? So we talked about your favorite dog. Unless Kyle's got other questions, which there's no rush here, but I'm kind of thinking.
I do, but we can save it till after that one.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. What's your favorite horse?
That's the only one I've been kind of thinking about that's a little hard. I got two of them, and they're for different reasons. I had one that I raised. She was just grade, but she was out of an on-the-money red stud and a high-rolling Roni gumbo mare. And that was by far the nicest horse I've ever owned, or maybe even got to ride or start.
Her.
Yeah, and I mean, just from the get-go, just the sweetest, kindest thing ever. Talented. I mean, one of the only horses I've ever been on that I didn't feel like I had to train. You just showed her and she picked it up, got it.
So what happened? Did you sell her? Did she die? What?
I turned her out after out on pasture one afternoon after I got done riding all my colts. Came back the next morning, she was dead in the feed bunk. I don't know if she colicked or what. She was healthy 4-year-old colt, never had anything wrong with her, and just showed up.
That's one of, I kind of wrote these cowboy perspective code things. That kind of is one of them. Like, you're man enough to accept the realities of life.
Yep.
And one of them is, you may walk out of your house and your favorite horse is dead in the feed bunk.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's a bad day. I'll tell you, it sucks. But it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And
Well, you've lived through it. You've experienced it. That's, just...
And like hearing these stories, of course, people are going to be intrigued with your stories. And of course, people like to listen to what you have to say. But I don't know how we could ever do justice from a recorded conversation how much better than average he actually is with a horse, a rope, and a cow.
Yeah.
Like, he probably don't even think so to the level that I'm explaining it or that I believe it, because he's remarkably above average in every aspect of who he is, whether it's a green part of what he's doing or a very experienced part of what he's doing. He's way beyond average in everything he does, carries himself, conducts himself, to the point of, like, even when we were at the YP together, he was a decade younger than me. And I was telling him this just yesterday or the day before, like, the reason I went to the cow horse trainer I went to get help, or the colt star I went with to get help, was because he worked there first, and I could see how much better he was than everyone. And I'm not giving all the credit to that place or that guy, but I could at least see that he got something out of that program that I'd never seen before. And I went and learned the same program, essentially.
Yeah.
But, like, even cowboying, roping, how he is as a person, how far he's come since the last time I've talked to him, like, he's incredibly above average, and I don't think he even knows that to the degree that other people will see that.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at, and the only reason why I'm rambling this, is, like, to say that he's far beyond just a cowboy. And I'm going to follow up with, like, how could people, like, from now until the end point of that goal you were talking about, how can people that would truly appreciate this and see value in this get a horse to you, but maybe a better horse than you're used to receiving, to where they're going to get an incredible product back that they didn't even know existed out there? Like, how could we kind of help you, and you can help people listening as far as getting horses to you? And
Sure. I mean, somehow get my phone number. I don't know exactly how we would do that,
we can
but
put that in the show
I mean,
notes.
people want to send me them. They just even want to call and talk. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know better or whatever, but I
so
might
if
know
anyone
something
ever
more.
seen our page or seen our deal and reached out to Success to say, hey, what about that Buddy Tucker? Does he have any openings? I can always send good horses to you then.
Yep, absolutely, for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, send them to me, call me, talk to me about them, whatever you might
What
want.
would be the max out point? Like, do you know, have you ever been like, okay, to do my job, to ride my own, I can only take X outside horses?
Sure. Yeah, and where I'm at now, like, so it's been different everywhere I worked. So when I worked in Montana, I rode a lot of colts, but I was a lot slower. I did my cows, and I mean, that's what I would do. If I didn't want to argue, I'd just ride colts. Where I'm at now, I'm not set up exactly to train more like your performance horse stuff. I like getting them out and using them, getting my straight lines, crossing the creek. So I'm riding a little different horse. They got to be a little bigger. They got to be a little tougher. They got to be able to take the riding. Versus if I was just somewhere starting colts,
Yeah.
I could take all your really nice 2-year-olds and I'd go lope them around, and make them nice and send them home. So it's just a different product based on different environment I have.
Yeah.
Tucker? I mean, I don't think we've even scratched the surface of, like, the depths of your brain and how you think about stuff and what makes you amazing. But we have had a really enjoyable time, and I've learned stuff. Like, I think you're so quotable. Like, you think about the world in a very, like, imaginable way. Just how you talk about stuff, I think about training this horse. I think about working for that guy. So to me, that's been a lot of fun. I think there's tons of clips in this conversation that will be valuable to this podcast, to you, to Kyle, whoever wants to take the information and be willing to learn. So
good.
Thanks,
I
man.
sure hope
Appreciate
so.
it. Yeah,
Absolutely. And like when the conversation started, I even said like we lived together and you were like a brother to me. And now that the conversation's over, I realize how far you've come and how much you've changed just since the last time I seen you, and we're staying in more touch. So I think in everything you're doing remarkable, and just
Well, thanks.
keep
It means a
reminding
lot.
yourself of that and keep going in that direction, because you really blown me away. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
That's right. I'm an old guy. Like, you're talking about being 23. When I was 23, you wouldn't have heard nothing like that. Like, you would not have heard one statement with that much wisdom in it. I promise you. I was like, let's rodeo, let's cowboy, everybody give me everything. I just had such a different expectation. So, man, you're impressive in that way. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you love it, tell somebody. If you didn't, tell me. Thank y'all. We've come to the end of another conversation. Oh, by the way, thanks for listening. If you're hearing this, you spent a lot of time paying attention to me and my guests and being a part of the TCB Nation. If you loved it, tell somebody. If you didn't like it, tell me. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us on this trot around the pasture.